everyone into the Smite 2 Founder Series Knockout LAN. My name is Gormizer. Over there is Inbound. As we move into set 2 of the day, Malvinas Gaming, of course, is the one I think everyone has their eyes on. But Borscht on the other side. A couple of interesting things worth mentioning up at the very front. Malvinas, if you were watching LATAM while it was going on, played under the name Malibu before they got sponsored, so that might be what you recognize them on. Also interesting to Billy, I opened it on my phone because I was looking at it. A lot of them played for Nocturnes Gaming in the past as well, and we had like a Nocturnes Gaming jacket in the green room for like 5 or 6 years. Like it was sitting there for a while, and I guess I just never made that connection. I knew I recognized some of the names, but so goes to show that they've been here for a while, and shows that they are here to play.
Yeah, and that's exactly how I know some of the players. They just stick out as players that have competed before. They've done their due diligence in Smite 1, and now we move over to Smite 2. Different game, Gore. It's a different game.
Oh my
no
God.
matter what happened in Smite 1, it's completely different. These LATAM teams finally have the chance to really prove kind of what they've learned in their own tournaments. And both of these teams have competed in those NA tourneys also, the community tournaments.
Yep.
And they've done, pretty well. Sometimes they'll run up against like an early Cowabunga, and maybe they not make it that far. But these teams are good. Malvinas is good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to see what we get from them. Are they going to be like styled more towards NA, styled more towards EMEA? Are they going to, value that Jing Wei that NA doesn't care about, but EMEA loves?
Yeah.
It's so exciting.
It's something I know, talking about Los Lille and Malvinas and talking to Malum about them, like these two teams grinded as often as they could in NA ranks as well. So like they have been playing as much as possible. Of course, what we can look at now is what's actually going on in the standings and the schedule. Again, you don't want to be number 4. You want to make sure that you can be in the top 3. That's how you move on to Vegas. It's going to be interesting. It's round robin all the way through 2 groups. We're looking at Group A. This is the last one for today for Group A. Then we'll be moving over to Group B, do some of their matches. Same schedule all weekend. 2 Group A in the morning, 2 Group B in the afternoon.
And the best part about these groups is every game matters. You see the plus minus 2 because it was a 2-0. So even taking off a game against these teams that are considered the best, the Borschts, the team with 5 M's, the team Risk, those teams that are really good, just sneaking away one kind of can get you out of that lowest portion of the number 4 slot. So every game really does matter, Gore.
Yeah, and to the, like you said, like the individuals, like taking a 1-2 loss versus a 2-0 loss, like that's such a big
difference.
Deal. In fact, I have it written down. Tiebreakers will be determined in the following order: win-loss, head-to-head record, and then game plus minus. And then if you're still tied after those 3, it becomes a whole different thing.
Coin flip at that
that's
point.
a conversation to have later. No, at that it's a best of 1 round robins between everyone who's there.
Wait,
so you just got to play more Smite.
We got to get there.
I will tell you, it's happened before. You get some long days, but you get real interesting Smite when you're on like set 7 essentially because they're on the very last day or very last game to determine everything. But yeah, so we're still in Group A, and right now it's this question I think that's on everybody's mind. First off, I've got to give it credit because I see it in a reflection over there. I see it out of the corner of my eye there. It's on the screen there. I have to admit that Borscht choosing the Let's Go on her is just a really top-tier choice to me. I mean, yeah, look at him. Not the team that we're going to focus in on right now, but my brain, I just could not escape it. It's been calling to me since I sat down. Malvinas Gaming on the other side, again, mentioned these guys have been around for a little while. History for them when it comes specifically to their matchup in LATAM and in those matchups, they fell every time to Los Lille. It was something that was just really hard. But they were also the scrim partner of Los Lille. So, like, this was a team that the first week there was kind of a pretty sizable gap between the two. By the time we get to, I guess, playoffs for them, it was much, much, much closer. So this is a team that has done a great job learning throughout the Founder Series and growing as a team. And that makes it really interesting to me to see what they're going to bring here, because that means they've had 3 weeks of scrimming with their scrim partner, and like you said, playing in community tournaments, playing in ranked, and sitting on CA7 for a little while to learn what could be the new meta, maybe something different. And it's going to be a surprise factor, I think, for a lot of people since it's been so long since we've seen them.
Yeah, and these teams have played in Smite 1. We've mentioned it a few times. They have the competitive experience, specifically this team on that Nocturnes team from Smite 1. So there's no worry of, like, this is their first LAN. They've never competed before. They're excited to be back. They're excited to play. And, yes, they were the losing team versus Los Lille, but they still, as you said, proved a lot. Every week they got better. Every week that they would play, they would compete even harder. And now that they've had those few weeks off from actually playing in any of those LATAM tournaments, they get to see a fresh look. EMEA, very, very fresh of actually seeing it. We've not seen LATAM play for a little bit. They can maybe sneak something in.
And that competitive drive you kind of mentioned, like the fact that it's there, like
it's crazy.
That to me, and when we're talking about it, where every game matters, like even if you're just the one, that's huge. And we'll see where their mind is at. Malvinas Gaming, we've got them standing by ready for an interview.
Hey, thank you, Gorm. Over here with Malvinas Gaming, the second seed out of Latin America. I got Beltway there, solo laner, and you guys qualified, had to come over to America. Tell me a little bit about it. We haven't seen a lot from Latin America, so what has the preparation been like for you guys to get out here and get ready to play against these North American and EMEA teams?
Yeah, we know LATAM has been out of the competitive last years, but hopefully happily, we are here back. We are really glad to be here. We have 2 visa issues with 2 guys from Brazil, so we have to manage to keep the team alive. We recruit 2 guys from other teams, so yeah, we are good. We have been screaming a lot with the other LATAM 1 seed, so yeah, we are prepared. We are sure we can do well.
And you're about to go up against Borscht. Tell me about what the prep has been like against this team. Is there any player in particular that you guys are focused on or worried about?
Yeah, we are concerned about all guys. They are really good players. We might expect a really good performance from Baskin and Final K. We think they are the best player from that team.
Yeah, they're definitely pretty good. Who are you rating on your team as the centerpiece? I know you're the in-game leader for this team, but if you guys are to win, how do you think you're going to win? Like, is it in lane? Is it in the team fights? Where do you think specifically you are the strongest?
I think we are the strongest. Like the best player for my team, I think it will be Fel. The ADC, he's showing really good skills in the scrims as well. He's showing up, yeah, for sure.
Well, I'm excited to watch you guys play. So good luck to you. Yeah, absolutely. Back to you, Gore.
I am really excited, mainly because I think the name UFEL, like I read it, I associate it with then immediately pointing and laughing. Like it feels like that's going to be maybe some of the air that they're trying to bring to the table. But I like the confidence, right? You can hear it already where they've done their homework, they know what to expect. They've kind of already had to overcome some challenges just getting everybody here to be able to play. But then you open up this conversation and they feel pretty confident. They recognize, strong players on Borscht and they have a game plan in mind.
Yeah, and he didn't mention Pegon as one of the best players on that team, and UFEL gets to go up against Pegon, so maybe an eye on that lane a little bit more. UFEL is their best. He says he's like their hard carry. So, I mean, you put Pegon behind a little bit, UFEL gets a little bit of a lead. Again, curious what he's going to be playing. Is he opting for a Jingwei, a CERN? Those are really the 2 that come to mind. What's the type of style he's going to play? Again, this is such an exciting time having a LATAM team come to LAN and compete because we get to see this new region compete on LAN.
Yeah, I'm actually, not only to see them compete on LAN, but because, I mean, like you said, Smite 2 is such a different game.
Yes.
And everything's been so different. Everything changes so much. It is really going to be fun to watch what their style is going to be like, because I imagine, we've discussed it, like playing with NA, but there's always going to be a different flair to it that you pick up from your region.
For sure.
And that's going to happen pretty much anywhere. So wondering what they're going to be picking up as they go on against Borscht on the other side. They've got the really dope logo that's going on behind one of my favorite emotes in the game. And this, of course, is going to be full with a bunch of player names that you probably recognize if you've been watching Smite competitive for a while. But this was not the first iteration of this team. In fact, I don't even think it was the second or the third iteration. This is like the 4th, 5th, 6th, somewhere in there. The thing that is really interesting, if you were watching a few months ago and maybe haven't kept up too much, Final K back in solo lane as opposed to support, which is what he had come back in as. Pegon now in the carry role, you would kind of just mention that, and we're talking about that like being new, and even more so, I'm going to echo a hot take that Trelly gave at one point, which he had said that Rat Milk, while the consistency may be something that you can have a question about, he said his top end for carry potential as a jungler is one of the highest, if not the highest, that we might have here this weekend.
Yeah, I think with jungling, so far we've seen hyper carry junglers don't really show too much. I think a lot of the times you see some Odin, some Chalks. Radmilk will pull out Susano, Loki, like Scream did last game, and those top ends are 100% right. They're so high. a little worried about the consistency, but when he's playing as he wants to play, as his team wants him to play, it's a glorious thing to watch.
And it's been a fun team. I think really, again, when we're talking about growth, Borscht has to be in there.
For sure.
If you go back to Swiss stage 2, the first couple of weeks did not go the way they wanted. I think they won 1, then lost 2, and were on the verge of elimination, I think, for 2 weeks in a row before they, became this version of Borscht and moved forward and got to qualify here. So if we're looking at 2 teams that have grown, Borscht is in that conversation. I'm really curious to hear about them and hear from them as well. So we happen to have them standing by as well for an interview.
Thank you, Gore. I'm over here with Borscht and Fine OK. I'm pretty sure a lot of people know who you are, Fine OK, but you guys are about to get ready in this group. We already had 1 game down. You're about to take on the 2 seed over in Latin America. But tell me a little bit about the prep going into this, and have you done any study on these Latin American teams?
Not really. Yeah, not because we disrespect them. We just don't really do any studying on anyone.
No study on anyone. So what does your prep look like coming in?
We kind of just want to play the stuff that we like and are comfortable with, and not overthink it. There's not too many gods in the game yet, so I think you can kind of I don't know, you can get away with just playing the stuff that you enjoy and you're comfortable on.
Do you think that's the whole name of the game of this LAN is just being comfortable and just being able to play to your comforts?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that's what we're going to go for today. Maybe I'll get Baron again. We'll see. That might be my only god. Who knows?
If they give you Baron, I might have to step in.
It went through all the way in the last two games. So hey, we'll see.
Well, definitely one of the craziest Barons we've seen. But Fine OK. You guys, are you taking the top of the group?
Yeah, sure.
Well, there you go. You heard it from him, Gore.
Sure. What I like, so there's a couple of things to pick apart in there, because while I guess depends, the way he airs it maybe doesn't sound as good, but realistically, what I took out of that is we're just focused on ourselves, right? There's a certain point, and there was a conversation to be had, I think, towards the end of SMITE 1, 120 gods for competitive, 130, I think, by the end of it.
Yeah.
Where, if I know what that guy goes to the most, and I know, hey, they win on these 10 gods the most, that can inform my bans when I've got 5 of them. But right now, and much like he said, it's kind of easier to adapt. You can be like, man, they were really good at that. I'm going to ban that next game, or I'm going to try to take that. And I think being able to focus on what you like to play, that's something we've heard teams do a lot in the past, and it's worked really, really well for them, is that I'm going to play my game. I'm not going to let them make me play their game. Everything is going to be on my terms and keeping it that way. And that can be a key to success.
Yeah, and I think it's 100% a correct thing to analyze with. There's not a ton of gods in the game. If you play 2, 3, 4 gods in your role, there's really only 2, 3, 4 gods in your role that are top tier. So there's really no worry beyond those gods. And, I mean, you talk about Fine OK, you have to touch on the Baron. That is part of the reason that they made it here, was if he got Baron, this team was just different.
Yep.
And Baron's not nerfed. This is CA7. This is still, well, he was nerfed in CA7, but it wasn't enough to actually kick him out of the meta. CA8, he hits a bigger nerf, but that god is still really good. They could happily lock that in, and I guarantee you, Fine OK, if it is open every single game, he will play it.
Yeah, that's the thing that I think is going to be kind of on our mind. I mean, even Jorby said it, where he's like, if they let Baron through, I might have to start. He's going to go in there and unplug some computers or something. It is going to be a different level and a different echelon of play for Borscht. And that really is the thing that I think that's been shining for both of these teams, is watching them go from scrappy, kind of holding on teams in their regions to actual contenders who are, eliminating and ruining chances for the best teams. I mean, we've talked about it, and I guess worth mentioning, on air, but, Cowabunga getting eliminated was, a really, really
insane.
Big deal. We had an EMEA team whose the name is slipping me. Giovanni Giorgio.
Yes, GG.
The fact that they didn't make it was absolutely insane. And so there were quite a few players we kind of were like, if you asked 2 months ago who's going to be at Vegas, we would have put them high on the list that aren't going to be here. These are some of the teams that gave them that kind of trouble. And so we're going to see if they can give each other that level of trouble, who will put the best foot forward and, again, try to be in the top 3 for their group. You don't want to get eliminated before Sunday. because that means your trip to Vegas, your dreams of LAN, and admittedly a whole lot of cash that's going to be there, not just from the tournament, but maybe you're playing some games while you're there. All of it would disappear, so you want to make sure that you can get everything together. It is Malvinas Gaming, first pick, Borscht on the other side. The Morrigan up at the top of the ban list. And Sept, someone that we expect a little bit more, but the Morrigan, while it is something that I think they really like, I feel like has not been maybe in the eyesight for a lot of these others. And the Baron we were talking about, but it's taken away immediately. That first pick is also a second ban.
Yeah, we don't have that many bans yet, Gore. We have one ban each side, and I think you're 100% right. This Baron pick is valuable on the fact that it's multiple things. This is a good pick into Yemoja just as a counter. So you lock in Baron, you make this Yemoja slightly worse. Granted, this character Yemoja is still broken, so you're going to be picking it no matter what. And you're pairing it with this Poseidon, who again has not seen that CA8 nerf. This is CA7 Poseidon, very low base cooldowns, and Shock, CERN locked in. Gore, Malvinas, a little bit more NA-sided with their P's and B's so far. Chalk value, though, this is like a little bit from both. Chalk is heavily valued in EMEA. CERN is heavily valued in NA. Baron is a very good character. So far, Malvinas' P's and B's, this is a really good first 3 picks.
Yeah, and it shows, like you said, I think the strengths of both their region, a little NA, maybe a little bit of EMEA, and the flavors. And realistically, it keeps me interested. First off, 2 Water Gods up at the very top. The Borscht going for some powerhouse picks as well.
Yeah, they want to get it, not as much. I think these 2 characters currently have a lot of damage in their kit, and then Yemoja has a lot of utility, but they're kind of lacking a good amount of CC, locking in this Loki, this Jingwei also. And I was very curious if Malvinas was going to be picking this Loki, because in the Latin America region, this god was the one that decided finals. I was talking to Malm about it. Loki was the god. If you had it, you won. So to instead give that over to Borscht, and you take Zeus, Bacchus, CERN instead of that Loki, that is, I mean, showing how much maybe their P's and B's have changed just from 3 weeks ago. But I do love this Bacchus, and I do love this Zeus pick.
Yeah, first Zeus makes an appearance on Smite Too Long Didn't Watch, and now he's finally showing up in picks and bans.
He's
the
here.
Bacchus I'm really curious about, though, because I feel like, and this is just because I was so NA-brained, but like he was locked in solo lane for like everything for 4 months, I think, and then he just fell off the face of the planet. So where do you like to see him? Do you like him more in support now, and what's he bringing?
I think he still flexes really well, and I think Baron's that same thing. The only thing is, I would say Baron is probably support in terms of P's and B's. I think the system of what they have and what the Borscht team has makes me think Baron has more value in support. I think Bacchus, if he's matched up, if Baron's maxed up against the Amma, there's really no kill potential, and Amma would just power farm past him, be able to proxy. Bacchus allows you to farm easily with the Amma, very low kill potential, and then it allows me to play that Baron against Yemoja in that lane. That's the lane that I like. It makes it so, really, Jake has to play a very good game of Yemoja here. There's a lot of CC. You have the CERN, you have the Baron. I've never been a big fan of Chalk Jungle. That's my maybe one issue with Malvinas Gaming's comp, but you're surrounding it with Baron, Zeus, CERN. I love it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you're like, man, I might not like it too much, but I can't argue against what's around it, so maybe it's going to look pretty good. Things we're going to have to find out. What is LATAM going to look like this tournament? Well, there's a lot of questions on our mind, but for now, it's Jordan time as we jump into game number 1.
Thank you so much, Gore. And yeah, Trelly is big chilling on the big screen, and we are watching the game. First time we get a look at Latin America on twitch.tv/Smite. Game Trelly here at the knockout stage, and already the comp's looking quite interesting here against Borscht.
Look at our headshots, man. I didn't know we were using the one of me laughing. Jordan gave me some great jokes beforehand. But yeah, this should be an absolute banger of a matchup here, Jorby. And you know what? I can't help but think FinoK mentioning the Baron right in the interview before the game, he might have jinxed it. I don't think he was able to get it. Not because of the interview, but because he put that energy into the universe.
I mean, everybody knows, though.
Yeah, everyone knows, but he just like reminded us right before P's and B's. That just seems like bad luck.
Yeah, you definitely cursed yourself with that.
Unless it was all bait. Maybe he wanted the Amma the whole time, but you think he's playing 3D chess.
Well, yeah, you know, it might be big brain, too, because I think he's the only one who can really play Baron, especially after those nerfs. I haven't seen anybody play Baron like FinoK has played Baron. But we also haven't seen Beltway yet on or against North America or EMEA. So I'm very curious to see what this Malvinas Gaming team has to offer. They did say, you know, they had some issues getting players and their visas all set to come here, so they had to make some roster changes. And I can't imagine that that's not going to have some sort of effect, especially on this other side. You know, someone who I've been impressed with in the jungle is Ratmilk, but he's on the Loki this time. Typically that Thanatos is where he's been making his name, but his Loki's just fine as well.
Yeah, I mean, a hard carry jungler, regardless, that Ratmilk likes to go to. A little bit of an invade strategy. You can see Malvinas was ready for it, though. They had a ward in that grass patch, so they knew exactly where Awesome Jake and Pagon were going to be. And No2Lover actually did end up getting the invade off onto Ratmilk, so no speed buff for the Loki, and no level 2, mainly. That slows down the early potential. That means Baskin's going to be left on his own for a bit, whereas the jungle is here. SMITE just walks right up already, no problem. Not the greatest kill potential early on. Chalk really does need some itemization before he's cooking, but make sure you pay attention to those consumables. The Baron's Brew could be a difference maker here.
I do really like to that point about the damage over time for Borscht. Like, you got Ratmilk early on in that Loki, but then you're kind of scaling really well into that late game with the Jingwei and even that Poseidon. I mean, Poseidon even early on is just a huge damage comp. Compare that, excuse me, to that heavier front line here on Malvinas, and I'm really curious how that one will match up, but you definitely don't want Ratmilk to get online early.
No, absolutely not. And we've seen this time and time again. Loki can be a ticking time bomb if given the right pressure. There's no way Final K's proxying at level 3. Like, they could rotate over here. SMITE's close. Alma's slippery, though. It wouldn't be easy. No blink available. There's just a Sunder here for the Alma. And yeah, Chalk's going back to base, so no attempted gank. Alma really can't full clear at level 3. That's why I thought he's going to be there for a while, and he's still clearing as we speak, so could have been an attempted gank, but I guess with Beltway nowhere near and not interested in going for any sort of kill, Final K gets the farm for free for the time being. I mean, Alma is one of those late-game slanted solo laners as well, likes to go some auto attack and just try and shred through objectives. I only see 2 Sunders available for Borscht, but that's one more than on Malvinas Gaming, so maybe objective play. Something on the mind here for them.
I mean, to your point, too, like, Beltway got to clear that whole wave as well before Final K could even get back to lane, but maybe goes for that again. That was a slight level up on Beltway for a little bit and has a little bit more pressure. But a standoff on both sides of the arena. A lot of damage done immediately to the Umoja. Umoja saw the ban hammer in the first match of the day in both games. Has been more and more of a force in a lot of the games that we see at this level. Just has so much in her kit available to them. Ratmilk finding some action as well against SMITE, but SMITE not really worried about it. We'll get out of there with that shock sustain.
Slowly but surely, Malvinas pulling ahead gold-wise, I think just by nature of better farm and a couple of those invades. Not be the biggest deal in the world. The Lightning Storm was dropped, trying to find a solo kill onto Baskin. Take a look at the relics, though. Aegis for Fachicho, but Baskin has the blink. So damage really going to make its mark there if they can find it. Awesome Jake Riptide's out. Doesn't seem like there's any more CC to chase him down, but Fachicho rotated. The Zeus is here.
Now, Awesome Jake had quite the electricity at the end of the bracket in NA to qualify to get here, and was taken over the lobby, and I mean, everyone was enjoying it. I was watching it, I was enjoying it, and when Awesome Jake is looking good, everyone's loving watching this Borscht team. But you know, the early game here from Malvinas has not been bad at all. They've handled some of the interesting looks. Ratmilk has tried to invade a couple of times and see if he could find that pick. He couldn't find anything, right? We saw the proxy earlier as well. We've got the Bacchus belly flop on Awesome Jake in a little bit of trouble. They're just going to go straight for it, trying to body block to deny any more damage. Just sitting right into it. They should be able to pick up this first blood. They'll stake right to it, and SMITE will get that first blood on Awesome Jake, but they will trade it out.
Yeah, Pagon and a great ultimate there to try and chase down. I don't think Pagon's in too much danger here as long as you get knocked up. But, oh man, the Zeus is coming too. But Chicho does have the ultimate if he needs it. But maybe, yeah, with no ultimate down, he covered the option. No way.
Wow, what a blink right back into the lane, and you avoid the storm call. Well, I guess you can just get away with it that time. That was a very dangerous situation. They committed a lot to get to him, too.
They sure did. I mean, the first blood going the way to Malvinas, but it doesn't really matter. Borscht got so much extra free farm, and this all starts with Baskin recognizing, okay, Fachicho's rotating out. Zeus is going to left lane. Should I rotate late, or should I invade your red, invade your blue, and then just go to the right side of the map? And I think that works out better, because this Poseidon pick does nothing else. It farmed very efficiently. Aegis down. Fachicho doesn't have the time to get away. The Kraken takes you out, no problem.
And there's no way you're escaping the jaws there. Good kill for Borscht. We'll take one again on Malvinas, and slowly but surely starting to find their way in those team fights, and then also just the movement diff as well from Borscht, keeping them slightly ahead so far in this early game. But Malvinas haven't done anything early on that has really put them in dire straits. The biggest difference you're really seeing is that XP difference, but gold may as well be even right now.
Yeah, you can slowly start to see that XP take fruition, though. I mean, Baskin's going to hit level 9 here. Surely that's a level 2 Kraken if he chooses to put the point into it, which is ridiculous amounts of burst damage. Finally, ultimates are being hit for Malvinas in the duo lane, which they were sitting at level 4 for a while. Pagon has a big lead over Ufel, which is going to start to add up. I mean, we talk about this matchup all the time, the Jingwei versus Cernos. It's a constant stay in the duo lane, and when Jingwei gets ahead early, it just becomes so much more difficult to be a Cern, right? You cannot match that damage.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it time and again on the stream. Belly flop to get 2 just to keep them out, prevent more of that tower damage, but Cern, if he's not getting involved early and often, he's never going to get involved at all. So Ufel is definitely not able to find any kind of leeway here in the first 7 minutes of the game. Fachicho got picked off early on. They got a trade early, but not before First Blood went over to them, and life of the party is forced out after Ratmilk had Assassinate. Will get the stun and blink out, but will it matter as they blink right back on you? A Thunderstorm will help you out a little bit more. Just one more hit will get it done. And Noizu Lover will get credit for the kill, but that's exactly how you want to play it. Now you just got to get rid of Fine OK. The Storm Call will force the ult out. They're actually just going to turn. They feel like they can get the kill, and they do.
Wow, what? That was so well played by Fachicho. I mean, that stun from the Lightning Storm, from the Detonate. I thought Basket might have been a target there as well, but Poseidon was just a little bit too fast, and unfortunately for Fine OK, did not quite have the distance to get away from the wrap it up from Beltway. This Baron's been playing very well, and honestly under a lot of pressure too. Basket has been pretty consistently going over to solo lane to try and invade blue and just make his life miserable. Ufel, well played on the ward. I thought he was just going to walk up and try and clear the way, but he's done this dance before, and he knows there may possibly be a Yamoja in the waters, or in the grass rather. But pay attention, does have Phantom Shell, so even if the River's Rebuke came through, Ufel be prepared for it, and you might have to use it here.
Always got a way out, but no immediate danger. Wants to hold it to be sure, and you
So
can just
smart.
use your dash. You will get stunned, actually get it twice. That Yamoja pop is just too much. You get absolutely stopped. Pagon will collect his winnings, but you're in a little bit of trouble now as they come in for some support. Hope to get a trade on Pagon, who will get away from it. Ratmilk comes in as well. That will force Malvinas back a little bit in this duo lane. They don't get the trade they were hoping for. And Borscht, happy to just sit here and play it. They did a ton of damage here on Anoitu, and there's just no play here for Malvinas.
Well, I feel like I kind of jinxed him by saying how smart it was to hold the Phantom Shell. You could tell Ufel was looking around. He found where Pagon was, said, okay, this guy cannot do damage to me for a couple seconds. I'm going to eat the River's Rebuke. Dashed through afterwards, got slowed, got stunned, got killed, and then ended up using the Phantom Shell anyways to try and survive. Seems like he could have just used it to dash out and wouldn't have been hit by all the damage afterwards, but I understand the want to try and keep that relic up. Just going to continuously grow here. At least you got a 2-0-1 Bacchus. I mean, that's never going to be something you're upset about, but
Not at all.
just can't quite do the same amount of damage. You got a 1v1 here.
Avoided the Kraken as well. Got a little bit of that damage off, but it's just his own. Fachicho better be careful. He does have some support, but that's Ratmilk on the Loki, and you're only going to do so much to get away with it. You'll get the stun and survive, and there's a little bit of trouble for Basket. He'll go down to Smitero, and Malvinas able to turn this one around. I got to say, Trelly, early on, you know, Borscht were winning some of these team fights, but what I really liked seeing from Malvinas is the way that they respond. Sure, they're not winning or trading out every single fight, but the way they respond with some of these fights, there's always someone there to support. They don't leave anyone out stranded. They're always looking for any kind of value, even if they end up losing or they get dove on.
Yeah, and Ratmilk, I think, had a great attempt to try and deal with Fachicho there, but just shows he knows exactly how to play this Zeus, right? You have to get 3 instances of a charge before you can get that stun. It was 2 into auto, into 1, into stun. Like, I'm just going to get you away from me as quickly as possible, use the Aegis, and take a look at that second item pickup for Fachicho. Now he's got beads, active item beads, which is going to help out not just himself, but the team as well. If you thought this Zeus was just a mid lane pick that you can try and focus out, it's just not going to be the case anymore. Baskin also gave Smitero 2 levels for that kill. Went from 7 to 9 instantly. That's a big shutdown. It wasn't necessarily a kill streak shutdown. It was just, hey, this guy is level 11 and a level 7 killed him, so that's going to help out a ton.
Got some of that escapability with the Talisman now online as well. So Fachicho is looking much better than he was in the first 5 minutes. However, meanwhile, over here, Beltway gets completely body blocked. Well, if there was ever a time where you just get pushed into the rock, you got absolutely rocked.
Yeah.
What else do you want to say about it? Fachicho with the Lightning Storm, trying to get out of there. And he does pop the Talisman to help him out. Has Noitu to come in to help as well. Rivers Rebuke up to try to help out.
Yeah.
And there you go, Ufel. You finally get a kill on the board. Fachicho still trying to help as Pagon has the airstrike up. Still on this Gold Fury. That's what they're fighting for right now. Ratmilk takes down Ufel, and this is starting to get ugly. Malvinas Fachicho stays alive, but Baskin will make sure he dies. And Borscht end up coming away the victors here, and just may take away this Gold Fury.
Yeah, there comes the rotation. They've got the Queen Naga minions, and it doesn't seem like any more steal potential is here. My goodness, Fachicho lived for so long there. We got to take it back. Let's slow it down. Beautiful fight there from Borscht, of course, but the body block from Ratmilk to use the decoy, use Final K, and use the Loki, all to make sure that Beltway goes down. Then they rotate over towards gold. Fachicho lives for such a long time, but really Baskin showing up. A little bit tardy to the party, but still got plenty of influence in that team fight. My goodness, man, so well played by Borscht as well. This has been a back and forth game, but that farm is a cruel mistress. She's always there. The gold lead is always going to be there, and it is overwhelming in favor of Borscht. Just because you're getting some kills does not mean that you're able to confirm all these buffs, get these towers down, and that is something that Borscht does extremely well, and they are continuing to use that influence across the whole map here.
I mean, even Awesome Jake on this Umoja, every time I watch him just box out Ufel loses like a third of his health off of one bubble. And that's just got to be real frustrating trying to get anything going. But you're 2 levels down on Jingwei. That's not going to go well for you. The Hasten Fatalis is already online. You're still building your second item. So that does not bode well for a god that is supposed to be helping you in that early game. And that late game god, Jingwei, getting online quicker and quicker thanks to Awesome Jake helping set up these plays. Still going to get the gank over here as well. Beltway caught in between a rock and a hard place again. They're trying to go for the body block twice. Not this time. Left for the party in the tower. Rivers Rebuke to block him in. We'll get the stun. Trying to survive. Getting the tower damage, but that's not going to do it for you. Awesome Jake will clean you up easy.
Wow, so much CC there. The Umoja with the Xerxes Hexstone. Usually it is seen as an escape, but can be used as CC and extra movement just to get in there. Red buff fight happening, but Ufel try not to get soloed all while it's going down. It looks like you're just going to have to give up your buff, and at least Ufel lives to see another day for the time being. Pagon did not have Blink and could not chase down, but the purple buff is a nice consolation prize. Borscht is not letting this aggression go. I mean, you see Awesome Jake go to the teleporter. Beltway pushed up just a little bit too far over in lane and ends up going down there. I thought the ultimate might have been enough to stall and get some heals going, but you can see anti-heal is a priority here for Borscht as well. Brawler's already picked up for Ratmilk. Baskin built the tier 1 anti-heal, and then just kind of left it there. That may be a divine later on, but for now, you do get a little bit of anti-heal just for picking up that tier 1. I wonder if Borscht decides to go for this Pyromancer, though. They have Baskin, they have plenty of damage with that Trident, and of course they have Fine OK here as well.
Malvinas lost the one advantage they had, which was Fachicho tied up with Baskin in the mid lane. As far as the XP goes, he just got a level on him. He was back down 2 levels against him. And that Zeus was the one bright spot that was really helping Malvinas stay in that early game. Now you got to try to turn things around a little bit harder. It's going to be difficult as that gold lead's starting to spiral out of control in Borscht's favor. You talk about that farm being that difference maker, especially early on, to where you can help mitigate those counter plays that that Malvinas were able to find, because you just got too much farm. And it's hard for them to find a way through. Borscht picking up most of the camps around the jungle. And, well, at 15 minutes in, feeling like it's starting to turn into their game to lose here.
Absolutely. Objective play still been on point here for Borscht, and something that we haven't really taken too much notice to, but I've noticed every single objective that gets pulled, is the Queen Naga control has also been going the way of Borscht. Every time they go towards Gold Fury, towards Pyro, the minions are on their side, which just means on spawn, they have been on point with making sure to grab it. We talked about the speed at which you can clear some of that farm with a pick like the Poseidon, And Baskin has been on point with just being at every single red buff spawn, every single, fight on either side of the map. Gem of Focus, pop your 2 on Poseidon, you're going to get there first. That's just how it works. You have so much extra mobility. See a little bit of grouping towards mid, but Gold Fury has spawned in. I wonder if Borscht is going to try and set up an ambush or try and kill SMITE here.
As SMITE gets caught, that blink is not going to do anything for you. You get stunned down. Storm Call does not matter. The storm is too quiet. And Borscht easily walking their way through it. They're looking at Fire Giant even. They're feeling real confident here with a 15-minute Fire Giant. They'll start it up. That's how confident Borscht are here with a almost 8K gold lead. Beltway coming in, trying to get the steal, but just threw it out too late. Life of the party now just trying to leave. But you may have just sacrificed yourself on the altar. You're getting around, you buy a little bit of time for Noitu to get there, not before you're finally eliminated. And with Fire Giant now in your hands, you've got complete control of the map. This one looking like the beginning of the end. Yeah,
UFEL makes the rotation to try and help out. All the while, Pagon is still sitting over in duo lane. Unfortunately, Mitsu Lover, you're going down. That Bacchus cannot get away. And the Riptide might be enough. Another Riptide. Wow. Please, UFEL, get away. You do not want to be anywhere near Awesome Jake. This is one of his best gods for a reason. He has been on point all game. 1, 2, and 6 really doesn't reflect the amount of action Jake has been a part of. But Chicho, I don't even know if you even want to try and defend this tier 2. Let's try and get away from Borscht. That's just a general rule here. If you're not within a couple levels of anyone on Borscht, you should probably be underneath your Phoenix for the time being.
Yeah, you can kind of feel them getting desperate, right? That's not even the first time they just kind of poked in 1v3 to see what they could do, because they just keep losing ground against them and not able to find any kind of strong position. After that first 5 minutes, I could kind of understand that frustration, especially for SMITE, who I thought was making some pretty good plays early on. He was helping even up the score against Borscht in some of their early plays, on some of those early ganks that you saw. And I did like some of the moves that they were making.
Absolutely.
It's just that farm difference that ends up being the difference for them. And they couldn't capitalize on Fuchicho getting back, getting a couple of those kills, and actually playing around that Zeus and forcing Borscht to respect it. Instead, they kept catching Fuchicho out later on.
I'll tell you what I noticed, and Jorby, this is something I see with a lot of these teams that come in, and they've got some spark, they've got a lot of mechanical prowess, but at the end of the day, that farm is going to eventually take over. Even though it was like, what, 6 to 7 at one point?
Yeah.
The gold lead was about 4,000, and those small, minute differences start to add up. The extra damage item, the extra, access to this active item that becomes key. The ability to just teleport to the other side of the map at a moment's notice, because you have that, you can risk that farm, you can risk missing a wave to do that play. It starts to add up. And more importantly, when you do pick Zeus and you're forced into going something like beads, that's a relatively expensive item in the grand scheme of things during a key power point in your build, whereas Baskin just goes into Soul Gem. He's doing incredible amounts of damage. This Poseidon's a threat. My goodness, Pacon is a man on a mission. Ends up using the blink, using the ult, doesn't get much for it, but just goes to show that he is trying to fight.
There's just absolutely no fear from UFEL.
Yeah.
SMITE will make sure Pacon goes down for his aggression, and that's exactly what you need to do. If you have any hope in this fight, you can't just let Pacon plant his flag on your tier 2 and do whatever he wants. You better be able to punish him for it. They do punish him there. It's a long journey, though, for you to come back.
Yeah, absolutely. You could tell the whole team was laughing at him, though. They knew he overstepped his boundaries. They cannot just roll over Malvinas Gaming. Just because they have a bit of a lead here does not mean you can make some troll plays like that. And they are able to capitalize on them. That's what they're looking for. Malvinas just needs some time to farm, right? You've got a level 15 Chalk. Late game, I'm not going to lie to you, he's not going to be able to outscale Rat Milk, but he will get a little bit of extra survivability, a little bit of extra damage online. That could certainly help out, and UFEL in particular needs that farm. Level 3 level 15s on the side of Malvinas, but your ADC's got to be the most important one here. I mean, this sir needs, he's got 2 items to his name. It's tough.
I mean, that's the Awesome Jake effect, right? Every time we went over to duo lane, we saw it was just Awesome Jake zoning UFEL out. And there was nothing UFEL could do, because Yamoja was just doing so much damage to him. And with that, with the amount that Yamoja has in her kit, it's just so hard to actually stay there. And Jingwei was sitting right there with him. So, you stay there, you're dead. But even when you're retreating, you're still dead. It's just not working at all. I would not be surprised if they go for that Yamoja ban next game.
Yeah, something needs to be done. But Malvinas still wants to try and find their out in this game. It's all going to be about capitalizing on the lack of CC immunity here. Something that you notice is Awesome Jake's beads is down for 80 seconds, right? If you get a wrap it up on a basket, he has to blink out, and that's still not enough to get away from the coffin, right? Beltway could find a meaningful stun on a Poseidon, and it's not as if Baskin's tanky, right? He's just full damage here. This Poseidon could certainly die, especially if Chicho's involved. So there's ways out here for Malvinas. I'm not ready to call this an open and shut GG just yet. It's all going to be about, can Borscht just play a consistent brand of safe Smite? And considering Awesome Jake is at the tower line here, I don't think so, but that's not the lightning storm you want to see.
Yeah, you might need to rely on, Beltway with life of the party. A hopeful belly flop of someone over positioning. Ratmilk, look how much damage he just does to Smitero. There's no survival for the Chalk. Down indeed, and now pressuring here on the first Phoenix, continuing to barrel stuff Malvinas at every single step. Life of the party does pull one in. You won't get the stun though, barely getting out of it. Nice belly flop to take that tower damage for Chicho. Gets credit for the kill on Awesome Jake. They do get a pick and survive in the mid Phoenix for now. Meanwhile,
he's dead.
In another channel, you watch Ufel die quickly to find okay. And now back to our regular programming for Chicho dying to Baskin. And it looks like Malvinas will be dying to Borscht here in game number 1. Everybody wiped. That's a D aside. No problem. Easy walk in the park for Borscht.
Man, they were crossing the T's and dotting the I's, and they found their way. Smitero's back in about 3 seconds. There are some low health bars here, and Baskin already blinked. That's the only thing I can see here about the stop. They do not have minions just yet.
They're on minions. Storm Call comes out. You get the silence in a little bit, but Ratmilk just got the double dagger, and you are double dead. Good night to you here in game 1 for Malvinas. You had some good looks early on.
They need Fido.
Basket just barely surviving. What's his health at after that Titan hit?
There we go. They've got minions now. It took them some time.
Close one.
But they ended up getting it done. A solid 20,000 gold lead there for Borscht as well. Oh, they're hyped.
Woo, look at that.
Okay.
All right.
I'm not going to lie. When I saw the team photos and I saw Awesome Jake squaring up, like I was kind of intimidated. I thought he wanted to swing on me, but I'm not facing that guy.
Yeah, careful. I don't want to catch hands over there. Maybe like next pregame interview, if I do it, I'm going to stand like 10 feet away from him.
Look at Fido K. Just
I
like to think that's hot cocoa. He's just this is nice.
That's 100% triple espresso.
Whatever it is, it's working. Oh, look at the firm handshakes, man. Jake is so hyped.
I tell you what, Fido K handshake, very solid. But yeah, so you got solid handshakes. That means you're goated on the WASD, right?
Did he give you a good look in the eyes as well?
Well, it was more a professional look in the eye.
Okay.
Hey, I'm about to destroy this team. He just didn't want to say it out loud. He's too nice of a guy.
That's the sip of a stone cold killer right there.
Absolutely.
And you know what? I will say the AMA was looking clean. It was a pick that we didn't expect to see. So highly looked at, right? We already knew that Baron was going to be a topic of conversation. He mentioned that to you in your interview, but the AMA. It's another one of those late game hard carries that if you give her the space, Fido was soloing Gold Fury while his team was ending. Like, he didn't even make it there because he had plenty of damage to do so. So Malvinas, I'm not ready to count them out just yet in a 2-0 fashion. I saw a lot of positives there, but they have to be able to take those early invades like they did, and then like they took away Ratmilk's speed. They were able to get there early, but again, Smitero's on chalk. Like I cannot get behind the Chungle, man. I'm just not a believer of it.
Yeah, Chungle has not been working out. Maybe they go to something different in the next game. Can Malvinas find a way to force game 3? Find out after the break.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Smite 2 Founders Series Knockout LAN. My name's Gormizer. Over there is Inbound, and we just had a pretty exciting game overall, especially if you were a Borscht fan going into it. But before we get into that one, I'm going to go ahead and mention that you should check out youtube.com/SmiteVOD, because it is a great place to get all of your past Smite set needs. And I think Inbound, you even had a recommendation for people.
Yeah, you could go watch Xbox Worlds, maybe. The one
the
that I won.
The one that you won.
The one that I won.
Yeah, specifically. We don't know the year.
The one that, yeah,
but the one that he won.
Not Mifflin's.
Not Mifflin's. Which that one I think was 2017.
So
or
I think mine was season 4.
See, yeah, that one.
That
Just
one.
go watch that one. You can find it on youtube.com/SmiteVOD. You can also find a whole lot of other stuff, whether it is Founders Series games, whether you want to see what was going on in I guess not just the Xbox World Championships, but like Season 1 Worlds. We've got playlists for all of those, and then some if you're really curious about like SPL Season 4 week, I don't know, 7 game 4, like that, it's gonna be there. You can find them all. So make sure that you go subscribe, leave nice comments on the videos because sometimes those guys are mean, and that's why
They can be.
They have their opinions, and you know what? I guess I'll respect them, even if I'm not going to read them because they're mean sometimes. Borscht, not well. I guess actually kind of mean overall, but
A little bit.
if you're trying to win, you're trying to win. Also heard them actually from where you're sitting, getting really excited after their win. And it is one of those things. Early game, it feels like back and forth, kill for kill, blow for blow, and it feels like that Gold Fury. Well, it maybe wasn't like, oh man, this game's over. It was kind of like the start of, okay, now they're really far ahead.
Yeah, and I think there are really easily seen positives on the side of Malvinas. I think they team fight very well, and their scuffles are also really nice. I think they have an issue where when you're first starting to play against these really good teams, these NA 1 seeds, 2 seeds, 3 seeds, EMEA, you lose out on farming when you're looking to try to make plays. Those plays take too long. They were trying to set up a play in the early game, took them a little bit of time. Their gold lead went from, I think it was actually just like a perfectly even game, and then it dropped down to about 500, 1,000 for the way of Borscht. You have to look for plays quickly at this level. If there's nothing there, 5 seconds later, okay, maybe that's it. Maybe you have to call it. You'll see sometimes players will greet it. They'll sit in lane for 10, 15, 20 seconds, seeing if there's that opening because it's so valuable. But if Malvinas can just identify the issue of we need to be farming more often and not maybe looking for plays as much. This was a good game in terms of the fights that we saw. A lot of the biggest issues were Pagon was level 16 versus Ufel was level 12. I think FinalK also had a little bit of a lead over there because he was just able to farm so much more efficiently than the Baron was. But again, this is their first, it's first time LAN, not for the team, but on SMITE 2. First time playing against these NA teams on a game that matters this much. There's always going to be the potential of butterflies and stuff like that. Now that game one's out of the way, they see the opportunity of what Borscht is looking to do. And for the most part, looking at this, Gore, there's not much, positive to say outside of they fought really well. Their farm is just so far below. That is the issue. Yeah. Really, I have no other issue. Like their P's and B's, maybe change a thing here or there, but it was fine. The biggest issue is they need to learn how to farm just a little bit more efficiently.
Yeah, I see, 5,000, 4,000, for a lot of these guys, 5,000 between the carries. And something you had pointed out to me at one point was that even though they were playing really well and actually had done a lot of good early on, there's this point where Ufel was like 3-4 levels behind, and as we can see here, again, falling to about 5,000 behind.
The gold lead.
Yeah, it was just impossible to really kind of keep up with that, because eventually the items are just they're going to do a lot of heavy lifting for you. And unfortunately, that was just something that you couldn't do. Still managed to put up 3k structure damage, but like you said, the team just kind of got out-farmed. First game jitters maybe out of the way. I know another thing you had also mentioned, and I think is worth mentioning, especially as we start to burgeon on the horizon of picks and bans. Yamoja's good in the right hands, and Jake's been playing Yamoja for years, so it just feels like one of those picks that if the player is going to go for her, she's going to do well.
Yeah, and I think the only times that the Yamoja looked like it was struggling in teamfights was either, one, she was kind of off by herself, which Jake is prone to do. He likes making really aggressive plays. Or the Baron was there. I think it makes playing against Yamoja a lot easier if Beltway had taken the Bacchus and the Baron would have gone to support. It gives you a lot more lockdown, a lot easier laning phase, a lot more safety, and just a lot more lockdown on that Yamoja. Is it an issue of Beltway wants to play the Baron because he knows FinalK plays it and he wants to take it over there to do what FinalK does? But sometimes a God is more valuable in a counter pick than it is in the lane it's best in. I think Baron's a better solo laner than support. Full stop. If you're playing against Yamoja, though, there's so much value in that support, putting it in support, and I think you maybe have to look that way. I also think, we talked a little bit about the Chalk in jungle. It's fine. Again, there's nothing wrong with Chalk, but you compare it to what Ratmilk's doing on the Loki, and he can get in whenever he wants. Fachicho was locked down and unable to do really anything whenever the Loki was around. That is another issue. I want to see Smitero move away from the Chalk probably towards an actual jungler.
Well, we'll have to see. Picks and bans, game number 2. If you're going to make your changes, now's the time to do it. Again, it's not the end of the world if you get 2-0'd. It's definitely better to get 2-1 if you're going to lose. Maybe
take
Borscht,
one.
Yeah, maybe Borscht is going to be in that. The grand scheme for all of these teams is to be top 3 in their group. It's round robin facing everybody. But I'm really watching more than anybody, more than anything I should say, for how they adjust, because like you said, after game one, I think that this is something that this team has done incredibly well throughout their entire tenure is adjustments. I mean, you know, week to week, it's easy to see that they made improvements, but game to game, just as important. They ban out the Baron this time, and I did see something, and I think Malum had mentioned this to me as well, so worth mentioning double, which is, I believe, Dilo, if I remember correctly, it's on_the_Dilo on Twitch, is broadcasting all of the LATAM games in Spanish for people who want to view it maybe a little more locally and can understand it a lot more. That is just something they were doing for all of the LATAM broadcasts before. Something you can enjoy now if you just happen to want that. Baron banned, Cupid banned. Gonna be honest, kind of forgot about Cupid, and Yamoja first picked.
Yeah, I think the Cupid's a throwaway ban on the side of Borscht, for sure. But I like the switch up. Instead of the Morrigan getting banned, you toss away the Baron. It shows you're not going to play the Baron again. You just want to get rid of it. Don't give it to Final K. Perfect. Yamoja is so valuable. Lock it in first. You can play this god, and as long as you are not, you know, dying a bunch in the laning phase, this character scales better than any other support. It's going to be the most effective teamfight god you can have, full stop, in Smite 2. I love the first pick. I love seeing that Jake dominated game 1 with it. Don't give it to him again. Let's take it. Borscht on the other side, lock in this Sobek, lock in this Poseidon. Poseidon is so valuable, Gore. The cooldowns are so low. He farms so efficiently. But I don't really care about that. I liked Fachicho on the Zeus.
Yeah, I feel like it, like you said, it did a lot, and there were certain things, we were even talking about it, where there are some picks, and I think it was the Morrigan, because we were like, kind of like, well, that band, like, yeah, Baskin likes her, but like, is that really going to be the thing that you need to get rid of? When there are other mid picks that are just a little bit stronger. The downside right now, and I'm watching it with bated breath, Chalk locked in. Is it jungle, is it solo? We'll find out in a second. With Ama, that doesn't necessarily answer it, but it does make it lean a little bit more one way.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it leans it more towards the jungle. We have seen Alma jungle before, but I think she's so good in solo. It's going to be solo. My issue that I'm seeing with Malvinas' comp right now is that their dual lane is so weak in the early game. You lock in this Yamoja and you pair it with a Jing Wei. Very safe, but Pegon's one of the few ADCs that will say, you want to play for the late game? Okay, enjoy having every single one of your buffs invaded by this Sobek on her duo lane.
We have arrived. Much
Now,
bloodshed is about to take place.
Okay, so I see Sobek, Poseidon, Loki on her, and you know, sometimes I like to think I know ball, and you know, I like to pretend, hang out with the lads, and I would think I would know where everybody's going. With the Morrigan locked in, I guess it comes into this question of like Poseidon, the Morrigan, maybe even on her, like where do you switch things up? Because some of these have gone carry, some of them I guess can flex solo. Like what do you think they do here?
I mean, I think it is mostly going to be one of these mages over in solo. And if I had to guess right now, Poseidon's cooldowns are so low. He's allowed to harass a bunch. He can use Talisman of Purification, Glad Shield, stuff like that. I would assume it's going to be Poseidon in solo.
Well, let's find out. Is he going to be there? Will Borscht take this 2-0, or will Malvinas Gaming fight back? The only way to find out is to jump down to our casters.
Thank you, Gore and Trelly. We do have a couple of changes in the P's and B's for Malvinas. They decide to take Yamoja away from Jake and also make sure that nobody can play Baron. And that's pretty much it. Everything else is about the same. Fachicho back on the Zeus, although Yufel took the Jing Wei away as well. So here we go now. Borscht, they showed their farming prowess, their farming diff, but Malvinas, they showed a little bit of promise. But can the P's and B's be the start of that adjustment? Because they also got to adjust in the arena.
Question is, where do you put some of this pressure? Because you know where Borscht is going to put it. And how do you deal with the aggression from the awesome Jake Pagon duo? Because again, you know, I got to agree with Bobby on this one. I'm not saying that Yamoja and Jing Wei should just get steamrolled, because we saw it last game do very well on the other side, right? That's what awesome Jake and Pagon were playing. But if you want to talk about early pressure, there's not much more you can get than something like a Sobek and an on her. So definitely something to fear. They've got Thunder, they've got Blink. That's mirrored on both sides. But something that I've noticed about Malvinas is they don't trust the five-man group up when they walk around. They just buy a bunch of wards early on. And sure, vision is important, but you are wasting that gold if nothing comes from it. So we do see a little bit of a switch up here. It looks like Beltway and SMITE want to go in for an invade against the Poseidon, but there's so many blinks. I don't think they can find a kill here. Worst case scenario, you get a blink or two down.
Well, Final K is still going to try for it, getting a ton of it off. The Trident 2 does a ton of damage. Beltway Well, bye-bye. Looks like it will be Smitero on the Amaterasu, though. We were guessing, will it be Jungle again? But Beltway is there. Final K getting that first kill. Maybe they get a trade out with Ufelt. Looks like he could, but man, that heal on that Sobek 3 is certainly deadly. You try to blink to really get the kill, but you just blinked in on her. Now you're gonna die. You fell in a lot of trouble. Get blinked. You have a little bit of help, but you body blocked by your own Yamoja. Turn around, you're stuck between two, and there's nothing you could do about it. You either die to the Lion or you die to the Gator.
Oh, Million's dead. Pagon wants to try and find the angle, and he gets it. 3 more autos will do. There's 2. I would have been 2 more there anyways. He was healing. Health pot, multi-pot is going to help you out a ton there. My goodness, though. You know what? I admire the aggression from Ufel, but you got to understand how many auto attacks you need to find the kill there, and unfortunately didn't get it. Pachicho in some trouble. Does not have Blink, has Aegis, so is going to have to use it for sure. And the Morgan is here. Yeah, Pachicho. See you later. That's 3 dead already. And Smitero, you might have just lined up for a 4th. My goodness. What are we doing in there?
You know what?
for?
Everyone get a 1 in the second column. Look, there you go. The only one who hasn't died, Yamoja. What are you doing? Come on now.
Oh.
Be a team player.
The exhale I just saw.
That's tough.
Smitero said, well, boys, you know what? Borscht was always going to be a tough matchup. But, hey, early game is early game for a reason.
1,700 gold difference, 2 minutes
Oh,
in.
Jorby, early game is early game.
I know, but it hurts.
Okay, so
The XP diff too.
Jorby, have you ever played a game where,
Yes.
where you get owned early game?
And then you get owned mid-game.
No, we're not talking about that.
Okay.
I'm talking about the things you say to yourself and to your team. We're scaling. You
Right.
know, this is in our final form.
Or late game comp.
Yeah, gold is it's fake. It's only cinematic.
It's 0-0.
Exactly.
Yeah.
These are the kind of things that need to be said to Malvinas right now, because they're only a couple throws away from just coming back, right? A couple shutdowns, oh, you overstepped. Remember what we saw Pagon do last game where he blinked in, ulted in, and then immediately died?
Yeah, but that was like 20 minutes in. And
I'm
he
just
was
saying.
3 levels up on Ufel.
Pagon's always got the ability to make that play.
That's fair. That's absolutely fair. I just think that probably went as bad as it could have. But here you go. Maybe you get a trade out. Be careful, though, because you're going to get plucked back into your death. They're actually losing health bars here. Ufel has to leave. And
Smitero?
to as well. Smitero, you know,
there it is.
Pagon will go down, and Amaterasu should have the sustain, but Rat Milk is here to play as well. But the daggers miss just out of range. It looks like Smitero will get away with it.
My goodness, that was close margins. It's been a minute since I've secured a kill with Sunder. Like on release, Sunder was, you could kill anyone with Sunder, but then it's taken so many nerfs in the damage department to gods, still does decent damage to structures and to buffs. But Smitero had thin margins there, and he made it work. And that, hey, that's one overstay from Pagon.
I mean, that's exactly what you were just talking about too, right? You got to be able to have that short-term memory loss, because I felt like it was kind of sunk costs. It's like, oh, we lost this, we need to get a trade. Oh, we lost that, we need to get a trade. And then it just kept getting worse and worse. And so maybe that can help stabilize them a little bit. Okay, we can play, we can get this, we can catch them out. They're not that beefy, they're not that tanky, but you got to be careful. You're going to get plucked, you're going to get your buff stolen. Awesome Jake just sits in the middle of it. Pillar's going to make you slow, but Noitu will get away, and nobody will die. As the tornado comes in, and oh, well, Smitero's got to be careful. There was no support coming his way from his team. They had already been zoned out. He will get away.
Man, I thought that maybe Pachicho was going to rotate over, and that could have been big, because a lot of teams, what they do is they get into habits, right? You can see Borscht is going to be at this purple buff on respawn every single time, and they assume it's going to be a 2v2 or a 2v3, and they'll be fine. But if Smitero and Pachicho know where you are, know when you're going to be at that purple, they can set up an ambush, right? And that's where it could be big. The one thing that I'm a little bit worried about, besides the fact that Final K got a kill before minions even met, is basking on the Morgan, man. This pick got some buffs leading into this patch. Fortunately, a little bit of a pluck here. Do we have the Desert Fury? We certainly do, but it looks like an execute could be coming our way.
Yep. One more. That'll do a little bit more damage. Just outside of the sub-execute. Awesome Jake will take down Ufel. And Noitu will survive, but it feels like it's only inevitable that you also fall to the sickening strike, as so many have to the Gator. And, well, it gets a little bit worse for you now here in the first 5 minutes. Malvinas, they found some positives, and unfortunately, that some has never been upgraded beyond that word. Not to many, not to more, just some positives for this team. And that continues here 5 minutes in against Borscht.
A lot of aggression on that duo lane. This is something we expected, though. We saw from P's and B's that there was going to be action over on the left side of the map. Giving Awesome Jake 2 kills is scary stuff, though, man, especially on the Sobek. I'd argue his best pick. I know I sent flowers to his Yamoja last game, but, you know, this is that guy. You know, Sobek with Awesome Jake is a terrible combo to try and deal with, especially with a lead. When you're 2-0-1 to start off the game,
yeah,
you know, he's the kind of guy that's going to harass you for the rest of the game.
Why, like, you know, you talk about the picks and bans, and you're like, okay, cool. You know, you took away the emoji on Awesome Jake, but so many times it's the controller, not necessarily the god itself. That's the difference, and that certainly feels like it's the case right now with Borscht against Malvinas. UFEL will get out of that one. Will take a lot of damage for it. A lot of attention being afforded over to this duo lane. Understandable with how aggressive Awesome Jake and Pagon have been. As the game goes on, you know, if they don't get a monstrous gold lead, Trelly, like they did last time, this Pagon, this on her, will start to fall off. UFEL will start to come online. It won't be like last time with him on the Cernanos where he's just going to get stuffed the entire game. So it's really just about survival in that duo lane for Malvinas. If they can hold on for a while, you know, you don't have like a huge gold deficit like you were talking about. They are still losing that farm.
What a maniac, man.
Go around. You got the blink. Airstrike as well will force a blink out of Pagon, and you won't catch him on the Riptide. Oh, you got the Riptide on the pluck, though, and that'll keep him back.
I mean, Pagon tried to gank between the towers. Didn't get him. So jumped into the tower anyways. And then he had to blink out. This is what I'm talking about. Pagon always has the ability to get aggressive. But that doesn't mean that he also doesn't have the ability to throw. Like, that is certainly a possibility as well. Here comes the rotation. No way! These decoys are so crisp, man!
That is absolutely juicy. There was no way he was escaping that one.
That's the second body block, and this is not easy to do. Ratmilk, I can tell, just goes into, like, jungle practice and just lines them up as much as possible just to get those body blocks. Man, that's annoying. I mean, like, Emoji has so much mobility with the Riptides, but if you can't get out and you can't step in your Riptide, you can't move.
It's like even without Loki, it feels like Borscht know how to body block you anywhere. It's not even the first time we've seen a body block without the decoy. Over at Beltway figured that out real quick against Fine OK. And, well, the Gold Fury may fall here. 7 minutes 30. Lightning Storm to try to steal it, but they do not get it. Borscht will pick up the Gold Fury and help extend that gold lead a little more now. 6K up here, almost 8 minutes in.
First goal down, big deal. Ult over in solo lane.
Nice.
Fine, okay. Is going to be the target of some aggression here. Has Blink. Can you get away from Dazzling Offensive? Yes, you can. I was going to say, like, I thought maybe somebody tear out the movement speed to catch up, but
Trident.
Only the Golden Blade online so far. There's not enough farm to try and chase that one down. But we got a Warhorn. That's big.
Let's go.
We take our small wins when we can. And that's one of the few things I see on the map going in the way of Malvinas, because speed buff was once again invaded. Fachicho, though, does have a decent bit of damage. I want to see, like, the 1v1 again, man. That was interesting last game where Baskin and Fachicho were duking it out, but Ratmilk and Smitero showed up and ruined it. Like, you got to respect the 1v1s in this industry as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think Fachicho, I would almost take him in those 1v1s with how they were looking.
Yep.
Even in some of those 1v2s, remember Ratmilk in the first game, he had come over to try to gank him. He had almost no health, and he got juked by Fachicho, and he almost got killed for it. He got stunned, and Fachicho lived. It was just a survival move, but, I mean, I've been impressed with Fachicho in his individual ability for sure.
Yep.
But that's just not been enough for them because, you know, Smite, it's a team game. You got to be able to handle those rotations. You also got to be able to out-rotate your opponent. You'll drop a Lightning Storm to help the zone. I believe Awesome Jake might be in some trouble, albeit it's taking a lot to take him down. It will take 4, but UFEL will get credit for the kill, and out a little late is Ratmilk. Can he get the trade? Yes, he can. Deletes. No to. Going to out of it. He might get the trade out of it. Airstrike as well, and Smitero will get the kill on Ratmilk. This is looking okay, but you got to take your winnings. You got to get out of it. There you go for Chicho. Baskin is off the table. That's 3 kills for Malvinas. That's the best team fight they've had all match.
Yep, they get themselves the Queen Naga as well, and that's going to be some big wins. This is what I'm talking about. This is a team in Borscht that like to overstay their welcome. They like to try and show off. They like to try and flex when they're ahead, and sometimes it comes back to bite them. I don't hate the play from Awesome Jake where he dashes in and is just annoying waiting for the team. But I do think he could have left with the ult and stalled a little bit harder, right? He kind of did want that extra damage. He stuck around 1v4.
On Ratmilk going in as well after he was already dead. I mean, why even go for the trade there when you're ahead?
Yeah, I think they kind of conveyor belted. Instead of fighting as a unit, they went in one at a time and sort of waited. Pagon, I was going to say, are you going to try and jump over this wall and go for the invade? Doesn't seem like a smart call. And finally, a purple buff goes the way of UFEL.
Wow, look at this. They were able to
up.
climb back a little bit. You were down almost 6.5K. Now you're only down 4K. Can you keep it going, though? You got to keep making the plays. You got to keep finding them out. Borscht, the more that they lose these fights, the less they're going to be over-aggressive, the more they'll start to take Malvinas seriously. And really, it's only going to benefit Malvinas. This Jingwei, the longer the game goes, will be more of a threat. Yufel already looking a lot better than he did last game on the Cernanos. Final K on the Poseidon here in the solo lane. We did see the Chalk jungle the last time around, but Beltway on the Chalk this time. It seems to be faring a lot better there, especially against Poseidon.
It's just so much safer than the Baron as well. Like, you can't really get camped on Chalk if you're playing correctly because you always have your way out. You have CC immunity, you have sustain. Wow. Drop the ult, plenty of damage. Is it enough to find a kill? No, it's enough to get your Aegis down. Unfortunately for Pachicho, does get it. Baskin turned into an awesome Jake, by the way. I was wondering who he turned into to survive that. Turns out the tankiest guy he could turns into a Yamoja.
And that's the problem with the Morgan in the right hands. She is just so difficult to deal with, and especially when you got the support coming right behind it. But you saw Fachicho, he knew exactly what to do. I see Morgan, I ult. Now here's Rat Milk catching everybody out. Now Malvinas got to be careful. You can't be the ones trickling in right after Borscht just did that to you. You're handing the lead right back to them and giving away all of that good work you just got done.
Gold Fury spawning up here, Jorby. It's probably where Borscht wants to put that presence. Do you even need Final K at this point? Probably not. Yeah, I don't think you need the Poseidon to rotate over. You have plenty of damage yourself to just go on and go for it. I'm trying to think of what kind of steal potential there really is here. I mean, Yufel, he's playing defensively. He doesn't want to be anywhere near a pluck. And that's exactly where he was, so he had to use the airstrike out. Now, a Gold Fury looks even more probable. There's no ultimate on the Jingwei, who's going to be the closest one in for defense time. Can you find Baskin in the meantime? I mean, he hasn't back, so you probably don't want to go in for gold anytime soon, right? Your mid laner is kind of looking a little bit worse for wear here.
Be careful.
I wouldn't hate the die, but now you got a Poseidon behind you, and that's not what you want.
A little bit of support here with the Amaterasu. Get a little bit of that scare, at least in the mid lane. Meanwhile, lurking in the waters, won't find anything out of it. Will zone them out, though, force them back to the tier 2. Borscht are still winning that farm game as well. Rat Milk pops the assassinate. Easy kill on the Fachicho. Smitero also in some trouble. You do have Beltway over here, but they're just getting picked off one by one. They were completely separated. Divide and conquer, and Borscht definitely plant the flag here in the mid lane.
Sure, they dive this, though. Looks like Rat Milk is the one who's tanking up. Probably not the one you want. Still gonna go ahead and retreat. If Final K's tanking up, maybe we see a blink in, but no, 15 seconds on the cooldown, so Rat Milk couldn't have closed gap anyways. This is what I'm talking about, though. Pagon is jumping under tower again. Like, he just wants to fight, man.
Does not care.
That's always been his play style. He
I respect it.
Wants to 1v1 you, and he's gonna take your farm in the meantime. I mean, if you're not gonna fight me, I'm gonna take your buffs.
I feel like every team needs that guy that's just willing to throw hands. Just needs someone who's like, screw it, I'm going in. And especially when you know you have the advantage after you won that last fight. Why not try to push the advantage as much as possible? But you did almost let Malvinas back into the game earlier by playing that way. So, you know, high risk, high reward type gameplay. And you do see that gold difference goes right back close to 8K after Malvinas were starting to fight back. You do have that Gold Fury still up. A team fight could be the difference. Everyone seems to be pulling off. If you have an idea on where everybody is, Malvinas really need to start thinking about making sure they know what's going on these objectives, because that may be the only thing that can get them back into the game.
Well, we saw Borscht make a little bit of a throw at this exact play last time. Awesome Jake learned his lesson. He didn't go the full way in. Off of the Queen Naga pull. There goes the old staff of Mirrodin pops. We have a double detonate. Not enough damage. Jake's just stalled, but this time his team might get here in time.
Yep, you got some assistance for Pagon. We'll throw the spears out there. Not actually getting the damage out of it. Basket comes to the other side. Noitu is gone. That's a little bit of front line out, but you might get Smitero with the kill onto the Sobek. Pagon killed Yufel, though. This is not going well for Malvinas. They need to get 2 of these, and they can't even get 1. Pagon avoids them. Beltway will finally take down Awesome Jake, but he's just the bait as everybody else died, and nobody could get anything done on Malvinas.
My goodness, and guess what? It's not done. Beltway thinks he's safe. Final K's behind you underneath the tower. He can't teleport while you're in the whirlpool, and he can't even get to the axe toss. Unfortunate. I'm not sure if it was a DSI. No, Lever might have spawned in at the last second there, but okay, I was going to say, if Pagon jumps into the Phoenix...
Yeah, go for it.
You know what? I'm kind of curious, because he doesn't have the damage to get a kill under Phoenix, but I would have liked to see it. Tier 2 tower under a little bit of fire. Yufel wants the damage, and of course he jumps in, misses everything, and now he's in the rivers.
And he'll blink out. He's okay for it. Hasn't had to go to that blink too often, so I'm sure he's very happy to put that on cooldown now. They've got them zoned out a little bit. Everyone does spawn. Still, I think that Gold Fury will be hard to contest. Borscht don't even really seem that interested in it. They're just interested in taking down the towers. I think you can kind of tell by the decisions that they're making. Fully confident that they've got this game in hand. Again, 15 minutes in, we're kind of singing the same tune that we were last time, Trelly. It's like some good things to pull from Malvinas, but the start of this game just kind of felt like it spelled the disaster of the rest of the match for Malvinas. You lost 4 in the first minute trying to get trades. Now you do fall, or the Gold Fury does fall to Borscht, and there's just not much more that Malvinas can really do at this point. Look at this gold lead.
Okay, so everything under control for the time being. Once again, Queen Naga being pulled. We got a Fire Giant, we have a Pyromancer, all of which could be next on the chopping block here for Borscht. If I'm Malvinas, I am likely splitting up as much as possible. Definitely letting Yufel just push left lane out and just continue farming. Try and get this Jingwei online as quickly as possible. But Pagon's here. Pagon's on the right side of the map. So I don't even think it's Pyromancer. It's got to be Fire Giant that Borscht is after. Or they're trying to dive at tier 1, which doesn't really seem worthwhile. So I think the Fire Giant should be the call here. Xerxes Hexstone into a pluck from Awesome Jake, and it's enough. Two getting pulled back. Doesn't have too much Omi.
Wow.
But does get zoned on out of there with the knockups chained together. My goodness.
That was the most insane kind of knockup float I think I've ever seen. Didn't know that could happen. But there you go. You have Ratmilk right on top of Fachicho, and with that kind of damage off the board, the Aegis will survive for a little while. Beltway actually gets the kill. A lot of health bars dropping, but Baskin will make sure Fachicho goes down, and that should start wiping the rest of Malvinas off the board. Smitero out. Baskin on this Morrigan has been too much to deal with. Really, Borscht, top to bottom, has been too much to deal with 17 minutes in.
Yeah, and I think, you know what, Yufel is still just pushing, and I think that's the right call. Send Jingwei as far away from this fighting as possible. You need your late game, and you need to get it online as quickly as possible. Luckily, Borscht isn't just going all in for objectives just yet. You know, they're chasing kills, they haven't pulled fire, so that does give Yufel some time to try and get some of that itemization online. It couldn't come soon enough, right? Like, there's a lot that Borscht can do in the meantime, and just continue pushing that lead forward. It's going to take more than just some split push to get Malvinas enough damage to go back into this fight.
I really feel like they could just take Fire Giant if they
100%.
I just don't think there's any way that Malvinas can contest it. Why not just take it?
I was going to give praise to, Fachicho for not going the beads and getting Staff of Mirrodin and going damage online, but then he goes into the beads anyway, so you don't have, like...
Well, you got a little more damage out first.
No, it's definitely good, but, like, at this point in the game, you need pen, right? Like, you can see... You can see fine, okay, he's got plenty of tank stats already. You can see Awesome Jake, who has a lot of damage built in, so take some time. A little bit of damage coming the way of Awesome Jake. But, he's got ult, he's got heal. He should be fine here. I don't imagine there's any kill potential. Oh, the slow actually helps, though.
They're going. Got the pluck, and you're going to ult to make sure you get out. Meanwhile, a fight over at the Fire Giant. You have Storm Call to hopefully help you a little bit, and ult anyway to avoid the silence. And fine, okay. Got the kill. Beltway will make sure Baskin goes down. But Fachicho, what are you going to do? Absolutely nothing. And Beltway will have to get out with his life, but Ratmilk blocks him with the decoy, gets stunned against the wall. He had ready for your axe teleport, and the Kraken, of course, eats you for lunch.
My goodness, man. I thought that Ratmilk got outplayed by the delayed teleport, but Beltway didn't delay teleport. He just went to it anyways. Probably had a better chance if he decided to run, but didn't end up going for it. And Awesome Jake still on the left side of the map to spot all the split pushing possible. Fire Giant started up here, slowly but surely. Borscht looks like they're going to take this one, no problem. But Smitero's nearby. The Ama has Sunder. Okay, I was going to say there could be steal potential, but Ratmilk dealt with that swiftly.
Yeah, no, none of that. The daggers are piercing right through that armor. Easy Fire Giant Trelly, sub 20 minutes. Could have been sub 17 if they really wanted it to be. And that's how dominant it has been for Borscht. And after we just watched Team But with 5Ms take down Mockingbird, at least in that game 2 in really dominant fashion, you're looking at these two teams to possibly top this group. No doubt Borscht versus Team But with 5Ms will be a good one to watch in this round robin in Group A. Malvinas, I'm excited to see what they do from the outset from here after this game, because there's a lot to learn, right? But they're also, again, we talked about the mechanics, we talked about Fachicho and how good he's been. I actually really do like Beltway in the solo lane as well. I think they have a lot of good places. They have a lot of good ideas, and this is a decent squad. This is just the difference right now of Borscht. But I feel like you go back into the lab, you figure a few things out. Malvinas could end up being a lot stronger tomorrow if they learned good lessons today.
And remember, in a bracket like this, or in a group like this, rather, you don't got to be better than everyone. You just have to be better than one team.
Yep.
So you got to take a look at the standings and just figure out who's going to be towards that third place, who's going to be towards that fourth place, and just learn everything you can about how to win that 1v1. But in this case, you got to get through Borscht first, and Borscht is trying to get through Malvinas. They've got their third Gold Fury of the game. I want to take a look at builds here just because I was curious. There is a lot that you can take away from this. Awesome Jake doing nothing in particular new except for Staff of Muirden on the Sobek, just going for some double plucks perhaps. Could be interesting.
That's kind of nasty,
yeah,
not going to lie.
It brings me back to the old Smite 1 tech where the original Staff of Muirden used to be you used your ult and then you could use one ability twice. So you could ult and then double pluck, get the beads. And that was super annoying to try and deal with. Looks like Awesome Jake wants some of that as well. But Final Case cooking up something devious with this Poseidon build, man. The Berserkers and the Shogun, so much auto attack speed here for the Poseidon
He
solo.
did level Trident first. Remember, he invaded early and got that kill. I mean, Trident kind of OP early, I'm not going to lie.
Oh, for sure. He's definitely chunking, and he's fast, too. So just pay attention to this Poseidon. Oh, there's one pluck, and the Xerxes Exotome definitely helped out.
Ooh, almost got the double there.
There's the second.
Like a little volleyball. Here's a Kraken as well. Noitu Lover gets a kill. Fachicho, though, will go down. And everyone backs out quickly. They're actually losing a lot of health. You don't want to get everybody wiped here. Rat Milk, though, will take a lot of that front line off the board. Malvinas, they have at least proven that you can't just play cocky against them. They can punish that, at the very least. However, Borscht, absolutely the better team here, wiping everybody down and keeping the table clean. Well, who will be the next to buy some lunch at the table of Borscht? Here in the group stage, they're certainly looking quite powerful. It will be a difficult team to take down with everyone at low health.
Why are they always so weak when they're going for the end, man?
Wait for the minions. There you go, easy win.
Got time to do so. Pachicho up in A. Yeah, they should be able to wipe out. Why is it always close? They never know how to tank. The Pagon won't step in. He's so selfish, man. Just step in and tank the entire thing. Pachicho jumps in. He's got the lightning storm. Oh no, they got one, but the Titan needs to drop here.
Yeah, kill the Titan and then you're good to go. There you go. Borscht 2-0 against Malvinas Gaming, who were not able to get it figured out, and dominant wins as well. We saw a pop off in the last after game one. Okay,
there it is.
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go. Hey, I can't wait for the group hug when they eventually, stay alive in this group and get to Vegas. They certainly look like it. And I think maybe Baskin was the one who took the triple espresso. Are they handing that coffee cup the whole way around to the team because they're playing like it?
All I know, Jorby, is I've known these guys for a while, and none of them have that level of energy but Jake. So I think they're trying to keep him happy, and they're trying to play along with the handshakes and the hype. But they all are just. They're more chill winners, as you can see. Baskin, he's not going to get up from that chair. He's gonna be chilling until he logs off and gets ready for his set tomorrow.
I don't blame him. The chair is pretty comfortable when you've been sitting in it, and you're like, you know what? I can just lean back a little bit. Easy GGs for sure. But the rest of the group, Mockingbird, Team But with 5 M's, are who Borscht look ahead to, and I think they make a pretty good statement here about how much of a threat they may be. This team has only gotten better and better as time has gone on. But I'm curious what Gore and Inbound think. Guys?
I think that one, clinical, I guess is a good term for it. Borscht, they just do the job. I will admit, I guess post-game bias, hindsight bias. I'm really happy because we both get the emote now.
Let's go.
Let's go. I guess how Jake's feeling.
That was him after game one.
He personified it. Yeah, we could hear him yelling through the studio. Excitement, winning. That's exactly what Borscht were here about. And this one, very similar to game one, right? Like, they just get ahead. They have a lot of control. There's a lot of things that go well for them. The Poseidon looks really good, but so does everything that Borscht has. It just feels like they get all of the stars to align.
Yeah, and I really think it comes down to Loki allows you to just power farm, and Alma can't do that, Shock can't do that, and then Loki can just come into a team fight and just one-shot you. From what Rat Milk was able to do, I mean, this game 7-2-15 really decided a lot of fights.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, Zeus couldn't even walk out of tower without the threat of Loki committing to him and just one-shotting him, even through the Aegis. I think Rat Milk is the one that sticks out to me. Of him on this Loki, might need to go. Like, this might be the same level of Baron Final K, where, I mean, if he gets Final K, or Baron, if Final K gets Baron is the way I should say that. If he gets that, it's just a dub, and I think it's the same thing with Rat Milk. I also think it was a really good P's and B's by Borscht. I think they kind of allowed some things to go the way of Malvinas, and they kind of got some good picks. But then there was just some ideas that Borscht had that just kind of countered it. Like, Yamoja Jing, that sounds awesome. You have two of the best characters in the game. Issue is, they're weak early game, and then we get so back on her, and we can just kind of just run down this 2v2. And that early game doesn't help Malvinas either. A tough early game to play through. But,
Yeah.
I mean, Borscht shows a lot of strength with just how they play, how they farm.
And one thing that I think, I mean, outside of maybe Fine OK playing Poseidon solo, like, they didn't really do anything that would stand out of the ordinary to me that's like, ooh, there's something to look out for the weekend. Like you said, like Ratmilk on Loki, but Ratmilk is also one of the junglers that was willing to play Thanatos and looked good on it. So, like, there's a lot of flexibility, I think, and a lot of stuff we'll see from Borscht maybe when they get tested as the weekend goes on. For now, though, they get themselves that 2-0. They look good doing it. Again, everything maybe lines up, quote-unquote, as expected for them as they step into this, both pick-wise and maybe, depending on if you ask them prior, probably win-wise as well. And again, when you're looking at this grand scheme, this win, big deal for them. Again, just to get a 2-0 gets you a much better chance of going toward Vegas. But you don't have to take my word for it. You can ask, or I guess we can see how the players themselves feel. He was popping off in the booth. We'll see if he pops off here. We got Jake standing by for an interview.
Yeah, that's right. We got high energy man himself, Awesome Jake. Awesome Jake, you guys took what was a pretty clean 2-0 there against Malvinas. Were they doing anything that scared you guys?
Now we were just pretty confident going in. You know, MOBAs are pretty hard to get really good at really quickly, and we haven't really seen them like on the rank streets or anything. So I mean, we just came to like do our thing, and we were probably gonna win. So yeah, it was just that.
Well, I have to ask because your duo laner, he's a little insane. He just goes in and he throws hands whenever he wants to. Like, how do you keep him under wraps a little bit when Pagon just starts diving between tier 1 and tier 2?
You really can't control that, man. He just kind of does what he wants. You just gotta like deal with it.
Yeah.
You know, try to adapt. Play off him. And,
Is that something you guys like encourage him to do? You just let him be him? Is that just how you love to play it?
Yeah, he's just kind of doing his own thing. You know?
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Group A, you got Team But with 5 M's and Mockingbird left to play in this group. So.
Yeah, apparently, like, Team with 5 M's are the #1 seed, but, like, we haven't played them once. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know.
So
apparently.
So which team?
Apparently they're the best.
Which team would you rather play? Or which team do you think you have the better chance against?
I mean, yeah, I mean, they were kind of struggling against Mockingbird. So, I mean, if they do that again, we're probably going to win tomorrow or whenever we play them. So, we're just, feeling great. Feeling passionate.
I see that. You know, kind of got the back crack in there as well. You're big chilling. Well, Borscht are big chilling with Awesome Jake. And we'll watch Borscht run for the rest. But thanks for hanging out with us here in the postgame. And we'll see you soon, man.
Thank you.
I'm going to have to look, but he might. Well, I guess he would know better. But yeah, that's, I think, right. I don't think they've actually gotten to play. There's one, but it was a pre-Jake iteration.
So it doesn't count.
In Swiss. So, yeah, it doesn't count. It's not real. Fake news, in fact, actually. Swiss Week 2. So, I mean, at that point, ages ago as well. One that to be, I think, excited for, and one we don't get until Saturday at 1 p.m. Team name, but with 5 M's versus Borscht. It'll be the first iteration of this Borscht. They did play them, again, week 2 of Swiss. Lost 2-0 there, so they're going to try to change that one up. And the question is going to be how some of these others turn it around, specifically looking at Mockingbird and Malvinas, both of them wanting some wins. Again, 4th seed gets eliminated. Top 3 move on from Group A and from Group B. We haven't gotten to see them just yet, but the good news is they do still exist. In fact, we're going to see them soon enough. In fact, it's the next set. Team Risk versus Smoke Break. One matchup at this point that I feel like we are used to, that we have seen a whole ton. I'm going to steal one of J-Mac's talking points because he's not going to be on camera at all this weekend. Team Risk, if I remember correctly, still yet to drop a game. So realistically, a team to watch very, very carefully because they, especially now that Cowabunga's been eliminated, have kind of put themselves at the top of everyone's Smite 2 team tier list.
Yeah, and I think if you're Smoke Break, I don't know if this is a set that you're like trying. Well, you're obviously going to try to 2-0.
Yeah, you're going to try.
But you want to just take one game off of Team Risk. It's not even like we think we can only take one. It's we need that stepping stone. We need to win that first one. We need to show that this team is beatable. Because so far, I mean, even in their games, Team Risk very rarely has big, misses, big misplays and stuff like that. So it's when you play up against Team Risk, They'll make mistakes very rarely, but you have to exploit them, and then you have to make plays off of it. We've seen it happen a few times where teams, you start competing against them, start maybe even getting a little bit of a lead, but in the end, Team Risk always just cleans up, and Team Risk always just takes that dub.
And these teams have matched. I mean, when you're both EMEA, you've played each other quite a few times. When you just look at the players, guess what? They've played each other quite a few times. So it's two lineups that, at least at this point, I've come to expect a lot from. One that I'm really excited to watch. Again, it's going to be in Group B. I guess this is a good time to recap the format. I'll do it again when we come back into it. But it's 2 groups of 4, round robin, best of 3s all weekend long. Top 3 from each will move to a 16 bracket. And the first 2 games of that 16 bracket will be played on Sunday. The rest of it will be played in Las Vegas. So that's a lot on the line for these teams. Bottom of each group gets eliminated. And that's why we're kind of putting a lot of heavy emphasis on these wins. And for matchups like the next one, when you already know your opponent pretty well, there's a little bit more emphasis on your success. So a lot of fun ones so far. A couple of 2-0s so far to start the day. Borscht, team name but with 5 M's, put their best foot forward. We're going to go over to Group B after this quick break to find out who can copy them. Grab your drinks, grab snacks, do what you need to do. When we get back, we got more Smite 2.